Hi, everyone. This is Joe Ryan, and this is another episode of my last semester as a college professor. It goes on and on and on, and I'm just looking at a message that one of my students sent me. So anyway, today started out really interesting because at 6:45 I had a call with my Italian friends who've asked me to talk about evaluation in the United States next Friday, and I met with they invited the man from Canada, and it was very interesting because he's working in the provinces in the province of Ontario, and his main function there is to create curriculum that advantages the disadvantaged, which, of course, sets my teeth on edge just to hear that. But not really. I mean, I've been advantaging the disadvantaged my whole career, and I kind of enjoy advantaging the disadvantaged. And I hope that it's successful for him. Some of it is like he just said that in Canadian educational system, you either get a college track or a university track, and that most people who are white that look like him, a 50-year-old white male, go to the university track, while the other people of not white, I guess, are go to the college track for the most part, and it's an inequitable system. And he thinks that they think that it's because the assignments, the reading material, and even the approach to teaching is disadvantaging people. And I think there's something to be said for that. I mean, for sure. And he used the example of Shakespeare and the fact that, should you really have a month of Shakespeare, and should you really have Shakespeare four times in the curriculum? Now, of course, a really good teacher like myself, and I say that sincerely, would be able to make Shakespeare relevant to any group and make it kind of fit into like I wouldn't say anti-colonial, but certainly, I can make it like an interesting subject about like, love and honor and working hard and everything else here and despicable human beings. And what I've always loved about Shakespeare is that 70% of the people in his world are great and are good, and 30% are scumbags. And that seems to me to be like kind of the way it is in this country. I mean, and in every country, there's going to be a good margin of people that are good, and there's a little margin of people that aren't. Unfortunately, those who are not good kind of run the place in many ways. That's why in Shakespeare's plays, they're King Richard II and Richard III, and they're in charge of the world, and they're often like very flawed human beings, to say the least. And the same thing is true in this country. I mean, when you look at like the people that are in charge now, they're flawed. I mean, they're deeply flawed, and they're lying scumbags, to be honest with you, for the most part. And and they're people that I couldn't respect because their ugliest notions, their ugliest thoughts are couched in goodness. They pretend that it's all for the better of the world, but they're very short-sighted, and they're not very smart, and they're not very well versed in the world. And even if they are, they kind of like just think that lying outright and twisting the truth to fit whatever ends they have is like the right way to do it, which we all know is just BS. So anyway, I don't want to get abusive, but it was very interesting to talk with him, and he wasn't one of those guys. He was a guy that seemed genuinely interested in that. It always kind of like I wasn't wary. I was very honest, and I was interested in actually having a debate or an interview debate with him about what he was doing. But I realized that, watching the reaction of Esther, who sat there respectfully, I realized that for Italian teachers, this may not work. So we came up with some kind of other idea that we could promote together. But I would like to meet with the guy and actually find out more about him. And I even volunteered to move, not to move, to go to Canada to see him. At which Esther said, "Oh, now you're going to go to Canada and leave us behind in Italy." And I laughed because I would no more want to live in Canada. Well, maybe I would. Okay. but certainly I'm not going to give up on Italy. Anyway, it was an interesting experience, and I really enjoyed it. And it was fun to get the day started on kind of like this really interesting note. And then I went into teaching, and I love this class, and I love the students, and we tried our best, and we got through a lot. And all I can tell you is I'm very happy about that. You know, we just basically reviewed for the test with the grammar, and that was important. And then I got into passive voice, which I love, and which is not hard, but you have to kind of get students in the mode to like do these substitutions and conversions that I always find to be very challenging in a good way, not hard, but just like, oh, you have to use your brain to figure this out. And I like that. So that was an interesting part. And then after the break, and I tried to resolve some issues that I'm having with the Italian project, I was able to, did a couple of people got involved in it, and we'll see what happens from there. But the other thing that I wanted to do was, oh, and then we talked about the island of the blue dolphins. And, I only had to get through 2 chapters today, and I had time for everyone to read. I like having a full hour to work on it because it gives us the space to really read and talk and read and talk and read and talk. And the students, whether or not they're kidding me, I don't know, but they seem to be involved, and I like that about them. So anyway, there's some writing homework that they have to do. Both classes are taking tests in the next couple of days, and I'm excited to see the results. I'm hoping that they all do really well, because after all, that is the proof that at least they know how to cheat. All right. Thank you. Goodbye.